Most community gardens have several features in common no matter what type of garden they are. Some of those features will include pathways between either the plots or different parts of the garden. They might include a source for water, a water area where the hydrant is that gardeners can get water, or even several hydrants where water can be procured. A community garden is also likely to have an area for tools, maybe a shed, and a compost bin for recycling dead plants and weeds, or a compost pile where compost can be taken and used for the garden. Other common features of a community garden might be a fence, depending on the neighborhood and what the desires of the gardeners are for safety and security of the garden. It's also nice to have an area, maybe a shady area or a spot with a picnic table or other seating where gardeners can socialize a little bit, take a break when it's hot and sunny out. And depending on the size of the garden and the proximity to other amenities in the neighborhood, you may want to have some sort of portable toilet for gardeners to use when they're out working in the garden. Deciding where the different features of a garden can be sort of a daunting task the first time you do it, but you'll want to look for areas that may not be great for gardening. Maybe a spot that's a little shadier for your social area, or for a compost bin, or put your compost bin in a spot where the ground is very gravelly. Where the water goes is going to depend on your water source, if it comes from a neighboring building, from city water, or from a well. So you may want to decide where the water is going to be first before planning the rest of your garden. Then the layout of the paths and the plots is going to depend a lot on where those other features end up. For example, if your water source is at one corner of the garden, you want to make sure to lay out your plots and plan your pathways so that it's easy to move hoses and water down those pathways instead of having to drag hoses through other gardeners' areas. In a garden where gardeners will be renting individual plots, a very typical size, especially if you have lots of new gardeners, is to start with a plot that's about 10 feet by 10 feet. This is a size that's big enough to grow a good number of vegetables, but not so much that a new gardener might be overwhelmed by the size. A lot of gardens will also find that they'll want some larger plots, maybe a 10 by 20 foot plot, or even 10 by 25 if they have more experienced gardeners, or if they have plenty of space to allow some gardeners a larger area to garden. Sometimes a community garden may decide to have some raised beds, either a few for people that don't want as much area or are not physically capable of a larger garden plot. And a raised bed might be about 4 feet wide by 8 feet long, or even a little bit longer, depending again on your space and your resources.
For more information, visit your local extension office or visit our website at kansasgreenyards.org.